Okay, so what I've done is I've written out just some basic chords for Here's That Rainy Day, and I wrote out all of the scales that you can use over that song. So let me just go through them all quickly right now. I might have to break this up into two chapters. All right, the first one is G major 7. It's the one chord of the key, so I'm using my Ionian scale, which is my G major scale. B flat 7, all right, it's a dominant 7th chord, so I'm using what? My Mixolydian scale. And that's B flat Mixolydian. When I get to E flat major 7, I'm using a Lydian. I could have used Ionian as well. I use Lydian though because it keeps me closer to the key of G. All right. And then on A flat, I used Lydian as well. I'm using A flat Lydian because it keeps me closer once again to the key of G rather than putting that D flat in there. A minor 7, it's the 2 chord in the key of G, so I'm using G Dorian. Now, one thing I want to say is I want to go back. B flat, E flat, and A flat, those chords are well outside of the key of G. Now, we can look at that as many different ways. We can look at it as maybe moving to the key of E flat for a moment. So B flat 7 is the 5 chord, and then E flat is a temporary 1. And then there's 4, right? In which case we could just be using your E flat major scale there, all right? So you could use B flat Mixolydian to E flat major scale and A flat Lydian, okay? So then maybe the E flat Lydian scale is not the best choice. You can make that decision based upon your ears. The point is, boom, you see a major 7 chord? Well, hey, try doing either your Ionian or doing your Lydian. I decided to go for my Lydian scale because I want to keep it closer to my G, to my key of G. All right. Anyway, moving on. A minor. That's my 2 chord, so I use Dorian. My D chord is my 5 chord, so I use Mixolydian. G is 1, so I use Ionian. And then I have 2, 5 going to C minor 7. All right. So I use D Dorian. And then I use G Mixolydian, and then I go to C Dorian. Now, could I have used C Aeolian there as well? Sure, I don't see why not. I just like the sound of Dorian better there. Then I go to F dominant 7th, so what do I use? Mixolydian. And then back to B flat. There's my Ionian scale. Could I have done Lydian? Sorry. Could have tried that as well. Okay, and an E flat, I did Lydian. A is Dorian, we've done all these. D is Mixolydian, G is Ionian, A minor is Dorian, D is Mixolydian, and then and then the second ending here, C major. I could use Ionian, but be better is, I wrote this in wrong, I would say Lydian, and it is written as Lydian, I just labeled it wrong. Okay, so C is your 4 chord, I would use Lydian, A minor, Dorian, D Mixolydian. Now here's your B minor, and this is where you can use your, there's your Phrygian scale. But now, what would happen if you used B Dorian, which would be, right, there's my major scale, I flat the 3rd, I flat the 7th, okay, so, didn't sound like, it didn't sound like all that, didn't sound all that out, so, I actually think the Phrygian scale sounds a little bit more out there than using plain old B Dorian. So I probably would choose to. And a lot of times what I would do is when I'm improvising, I might even just stay away from that 6th note altogether and do something like this. And then here on E, you can use that Aeolian Aeolian scale. Or, you know, once again, you could probably get away with playing E Dorian. A7, you'd be playing Mixolydian. And then the rest of them are pretty self-explanatory. A Dorian, D Mixolydian, G Ionian. We've covered all that ground before. Now, something that, actually, you know, I'm going to stop there because I want to devote a whole chapter to the next thing that I'm going to say. So, I know I just went through that quickly, but you can practice those scales, get comfortable with them. There's a couple of spots where you can have, you know, some choices, like instead of B Phrygian and E Aeolian, you could choose B Dorian and E Dorian and mess around with that as well. See you in the next chapter.